Jeff Turner with Microfood Plots. On today's show, we're going to do a project and build a gravity feeder. We're going to give you step-by-step instructions so you can complete this project at home for less than 50 bucks. At the end of the video today, we're going to supply you with full-blown work instructions on how you can do this. All the wood cutting, the sizes and measurements. So we're going to skip some of that detail in the video today so it's not too boring, but we're going to go through the step-by-step process right now. Okay guys, it's time to prep our barrel, and we're going to do a couple of things here. One, we're going to cut a hole for our 4-inch T right in the bottom. So you want to center this up perfectly. Pretty good to me. We're going to draw a circle around it with your pencil. Make sure it doesn't move so that you'll know which line to cut. Another thing that works real good is a real sharp nail. You can scribe the line around there and cut the edge of plastic, and it'll hold up real well. So I've got a nice little circle here. Now, I'm going to cut this with a fine-tooth blade on my jigsaw, and I'm going to keep it pretty tight. It doesn't have to be watertight on this part here. So, but I'm going to cut this circle out. I'm going to drill a pilot hole first so I can get my blade in. So use your 281 drill, I think it's 9/32, so you can get your blade started. And then we're going to cut this circle out. All right, so we've got our 4-inch hole cut for our 4-inch T, and it's just going to slip in here. You can see I got this little snug. Snug's great, okay, but it doesn't have to be press fit. So that's your 4-inch hole. Okay, so now I've got right at 200 holes around the outside, or on the lowest spot of the bottom of the barrel. I've got my hole for my 4-inch T. And next thing we're going to do is put our feet on. Okay, so we've got our legs pre-prepped. We've got our 2 holes here that we're going to use to bolt our legs to the barrel, and we've got our layout here as your drawing will show. And first thing we're going to do is drill this crazy little board here. I know it looks kind of crazy, but if you cut it just like this, it goes together really easy. So it goes like this. You put it where the cross hatches are, use your drill, your Torx bit, line up your lines. I pre-started my screws to make it a little easier. And I've got 1 screw in there. Next thing I'm going to do is use my handy dandy square and make sure this board is straight. This will be really helpful when you go to put your legs on, and they don't look crooked on your barrel. So I'm going to drill a 2nd screw in, flip it around. I'm going to do the other side now. It's a little heavy, but it's not the end of the world. And pretty much do this whole project by myself with no helpers. Maybe you got a buddy or 2 that wants to build one with you. That's great time, good social time together. All right, got my first screw in. I'll square this leg up. Chase that line. Still see a little bit of it. Just bring it right in. Okay, so now I have my H assembly, and actually it's going to sit like this when it's all put together. Your barrel's going to rest on this. And the next thing we're going to do is put our little kicker feet on right here to make the barrel a little more stable. So we're going to put both these on the outside. All right, so next step is to attach your legs or your H-frames. And we're gonna put one up there at a time. We're gonna drill the holes, we're gonna transfer the holes and bolt it in, and then we're gonna put the second one on, and we're gonna take our tape measure and get it straight. It's about 12.5 inches on mine. This may vary a little bit depending on your barrel and where it came from, that kind of thing. So you're gonna put this leg frame up here, transfer your two holes, do all 4 of them, and then tighten them down from the inside. Use your carriage bolts, your flat washer, and your lock washer and your nut. That flat washer really helps. They're called fender washers. You really want to make sure you put fender washers on there. With all this weight and the pressure, the lock washer nut could pull through the plastic, and you don't want that. That'd be a major failure in the field and be a mess. So drill your holes, bolt these on, and then we'll flip it over. We'll flip it over and tighten it down, and we'll do some more stuff. Put this leg frame up here, transfer your two holes, do all 4 of them, and then tighten them down from the inside. Use your carriage bolts, your flat washer, and your lock washer and your nut. That flat washer really helps. They're called fender washers. You really want to make sure you put fender washers on there. With all this weight and the pressure, the lock washer nut could pull through the plastic, and you don't want that. That'd be a major failure in the field and be a mess. So drill your holes, bolt these on, and then we'll flip it over. We'll flip it over and tighten it down, and we'll do some more stuff. Okay guys, so I got my handy dandy 7/16 wrench here, and you can use a socket or anything. I wouldn't use an impact or an air driver, but honk these bolts down a little bit so it pulls the carriage bolt in, and you seal off the hole. We don't want any moisture or water, rainwater going in from these holes, the screws we have on the side. Okay, when you get ready to cut your feeder tubes, this may be one of the hardest parts, is cutting these both on a good 45-degree angle. Now, I used a miter box. You may have a miter saw. You may have to use a hacksaw. But anyways, what you're looking for to save money is to cut your tube 2 foot 6 inches, and then perfectly put this 45 cut right in the middle so that they're both pretty close to the same length. And I simply do that. I lay it out on my tape measure. It's 2/6, so I'm gonna go 1 foot 3 inches right here. I'm gonna put a simple little mark right there. I'm gonna put it in my miter saw, set my blade on 45 degrees, and I'm just gonna hold that in the center, and I'm gonna cut it straight. It's gonna be close enough. All right guys, let's talk about our PVC supplies here, and there's something unique about the way I build this feeder that will save you some money. This T, 4-inch T, is what they use for drain pipes. This is not Schedule 40. This is not the heavy stuff. In fact, this won't even fit into there. I'm gonna show you a little trick. This is about $5, and we're gonna use these 22.5 degree Schedule 40 PVC elbows, I guess. But they fit perfectly over the outside of this 4-inch drain tee. Don't get the sanitary tee that has the sweep in it. If you do, you're going to have another. You're going to have a spacer to stub these up together, and it's just going to cost you more money and extend you out. So we're looking for compact, strength, and cost. So look for this drain tee when you go to the hardware store. Okay, I already had my PVC glue and my purple primer. So a lot of people won't use primer. I don't care if you do or not. I like to use it. It seems to etch the PVC and help the glue to stick together. This is heavy duty glue. They have medium, lightweight, other things. I don't care. For a deer feeder, deers don't care either, but we'll work with this. So one of the cool things about putting these together, when you do, put your primer inside and out, rub your glue inside and out. You don't have to go crazy with it. Just put enough on and put your fittings together and twist them. But if you'll look, you're not going to see it here in this video, but these fittings have a seam in them, and if you will line those up when you glue them together, everything will be on the right angle, and it will help you, at least the aesthetics of it, and I'm sure the deer will thank you for it too. So we're going to glue this together. It's going to look like that when you're done. And then later on in the process, we're going to glue in our feeder tubes, as I call them, and they're going to go in like this. As we're almost there, just a few steps left. Next, we're going to put in our feeder tube and clamp it down with our horseshoes. This is what's kind of cool. I think works real well in this feeder. We put our feeder tube in, and we're going to take these horseshoes that we've already cut. One of the things we didn't do was do all the wood cutting in the video, save time, so just follow your instructions, your drawings on how to prep your wood, and if you do all that properly, you're looking at maybe 2-3 hours to build this thing. So I'm going to lay this out, I'm going to square it up, and then I'm going to toenail my screws in from a couple directions. I'm going to put 2 screws from each side, anywhere I can reach. I'm going to put them in there or from the end. Okay guys, on my feeder, I'm gonna put a vent tube in it. These plastic barrels are seal tight and they will sweat. And you can do this a couple different ways, but this is probably the hardest part to cut and fit, in my opinion, of the whole feeder. But I've got this little 90 here. It's a close fitting 90. It's not your typical 90. It's 1.5 inch PVC. And this is a repair collar. This is not your typical union collar. It's a repair collar, and it's made to slide all the way up on a piece of PVC so you can fix a broken piece that may be fixed. So the reason I like this is after we drill our hole in the side here, I can shove this all the way up on there and get a real tight fit. It doesn't have the locking ring in the center that keeps me from over traveling. So we're going to cut our hole. I'm going to bring this up as high as I can before I get to this radius. And I'm going to cut this hole with a jigsaw, and I'm going to be real careful. I may even have to take a file or rat tail file and file it in, but I want it real tight. If not, you're going to have to put some caulking or some kind of silicone around it, because this is going to be your opportunity for any leakage. So be careful. Okay, so you can see I don't have the best circle in the world, but it fits really tight. I've put my primer on my PVC. I also put a little around my barrel here. It seems like the PVC glue actually adheres to the barrel some, so I've got this joker tight. So I'm going to take a little filing right here, and I'm going to fit that in. Took my razor blade, chiseled it out, and I'm going to fit that in real tight. I'm going to glue it in. Okay, I got a nice tight fit, and I'm going to ease that in there. And actually before I do that, I'm going to put a little glue around this outside, because again, I'm not so sure it's not adhering to the barrel. So I'm going to slide that in, a little glue on the inside, get it all good and sticky. Now this repair fitting, you have to push it on there. It's going to be a little looser, so I'm going to work it on. I'm going to twist it until it starts to to tighten up. This glue sets up in a few seconds, and I really like that glue. I can see that glue all the way around the edge. I think that's a really nice fit. I'm real happy with that. So again, hardest part of building the feeder is right here. If you mess it up, get you some caulking, get you something, and check it from time to time, make sure it's not leaking. So got a nice vent hole. We've got our 200 holes in the bottom, so moisture is going to escape from here real nicely. Corn, as it starts to, if it starts to ferment, you're going to have a problem, and you're going to hate this feeder, hate cleaning it out anyway. So let's finish up, and then we'll talk about what's next. If you enjoyed today's episode and you would like to have working instructions on how to do this project yourself, shoot us an email, include the subject in the title, and we'll send you full drawings and everything we have so you can do this project on your own and be more successful in the field.